Chesting, 1, 2, 3.
We're chesting now?
Chesting, words, syllables. You can use whatever ones you want.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with
That's a good one. That's a good one to start the show with because I hit record. So what's up?
Oh, I thought we were just chesting out syllables. Well, not much. I'm kind of feeling kind of lonely, honestly, because oh my gosh, what is it called? They're like I all my friends are playing the horse game, and I'm stuck with NASCAR. Everyone's playing Uzumaki Pretty Derby, and I don't want to race horse girls. I want to race NASCARs.
Interesting. I've not been racing any things.
I don't know why it's called that, because it's got nothing to do with Uzumaki. It doesn't look anything like Junji Ito. What's our game today, Hunter?
This is Stinky Gamer Pleasure Dome, and we're playing Space Funeral.
By our favorite, the Catamites.
Yeah, by the Catamites. Make some of the weirdest, most standout games that I've ever played. This is I think the game is theirs that really got big first. It's definitely the first game I was aware of theirs. It came out in 2010, and I got it into maybe around
that
then
time, yeah.
because it was.
I remember you talking about this since like high school.
Yeah, so what if if to have played it in high school, I would have had to have played it in 2010. So yeah, but I'm pretty sure I've heard about it on like Something Awful or Face Punch. Like it was that era internet.
God, I miss Face Punch.
Kinda.
I mean,
in theory.
Yeah, I mean, there's parts I don't miss. I just.
I mean,
if you can never go back.
If we are really into it, we would check out. There's the community all moved to like a different website that's basically the exact same. I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know if we want to name it because I can't remember if they're one of the weird ones or not.
I'm not on it, so it doesn't really matter. But either way, we're talking about that era internet. This is Space Funeral by the Catamites, published by the Catamites for the System PC personal computer.
Yeah, I think originally on itch.io.
No, it was originally on fucking Game Jolt.
Oh, fuck.
The itch.io update is later. They did some bug fixes and stuff, so I think they just recompiled it from the original like game save file, but they did update it. Originally they had their own website, and maybe I'm going crazy, but I could not find like the official Catamites website. I remember it being a nightmare to navigate. It's just as artsy, and I mean that in a good way, but it's just as like dreamlike and strange as everything else they do.
Yeah, that's weird. I distinctly remember there being he had his own website. Game Jolt's still up and active as of like a year ago. Huh? I didn't even know Game Jolt was still around, but
I don't know if there's much use for Game Jolt. I think all the indie devs moved over to itch, so
yeah,
it's not like some of the others where they specialize in like Flash games or something you can play in browser. Some of those are still around, but Game Jolt was all like mostly downloading RPG Maker games anyway. So
prior to that, well, I don't want to get a little out of sequence. I'll let you talk for a little while. I'm a little scatterbrained.
All right. So rating, normally something we talk about, but this is none for everyone. This is an indie release game, so it never got a rating. So there you go. But my personal sales pitch is Earthbound for people who are into huffing.
I would say Earthbound for people who like doing dabs.
Okay. Old school dabs, not the dance.
Yeah. Like dabs is in like you own a hand torch for one reason.
Yes,
like
and it's
a little butane torch.
Non-mechanical reason.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, like I dipped my toes in the Catamites a little bit before. Like I've played a game of his or two,
which we can get into more later. But
okay, yeah, I didn't want to get too out of sequence there.
No, I just think their catalog is really good. I think this is the first game of theirs that really caught the world by storm. The Catamites is also I assume it's a single person, but it's kind of hard to find information.
We've got a name.
Oh, do
And
we?
yeah,
Okay.
and he's done interviews before.
Oh yeah, Stephen Gill Murphy. So
Mhm.
because they were called the Catamites for a long time, I actually thought it was like a group of people, but it is one person.
Yeah, I was it was kind of mysterious back then, and I think you find out more when
Th-
you try and learn more about Space Funeral, because that is probably second to maybe the of the Killer games what he's most known for.
yeah. Space Funeral is they're very prolific though. I mean, they have like 10 games that came out in 2009 and a little and like 2 in 2010 before Space Funeral. Like they're
Hmm.
just pumping stuff out.
Oh yeah,
And they do have a website. It was not coming up the underway. It is harmonyzone.org,
Harmony Zone.
and I'm showing John, but it is the most eye-bleeding pink with dark purple
Yeah,
text.
it's like a cyberpunk fuchsia.
Yeah.
I liked the website when I last looked for my copy of Goblet Grotto. It was a fun experience. It wasn't like upsetting or like too difficult to navigate. It's just like, huh, this is neat.
Yeah. Um but either way, Space Funeral I think is a good one to start with. I've not played a lot of these others, but I got through Space Funeral really quickly. I got through it in a little over an hour, as you'll see in the footage. So I might pick one or two of these other ones just to throw some extra footage if we talk more than that. Because, like I said, I don't know, maybe I was just feeling, but I feel like I blazed through it in my playthrough. And I did a lot of the side content. But let's get into the intro, the basics. So there's no game manual, but so for our reading this week, I'm going to be reading the developer's description from the itch. Philip and Leghorse set off on a mission to find the mysterious City of Forms. In their travels, they must overcome ghosts, criminals, hypnosis, lions, Dracula, cryptic letters, muscle hedonists, swamp knights, blood ghouls, and more to discover the secret of Space Funeral. It was originally released in 2010, made in RPG Maker 2003.
That was another aspect of it that like I thought it would be a bit more of a hurdle to get around, because when I'm finding more about and I know we're going to talk about this later about how to get it running, like I RPG Maker 2003 seemed like a weird specificity for me.
Yeah, so it was originally made in RPG Maker 2003. Like I said, they did recompile it, so the version on itch isn't slightly updated. It to fix there were some font ish and a couple other issues that were broken by just RPG Maker 2003 being over 20 years old at this point.
Yeah, I was about to say, because
It was old when he made it. Like it was already
that was
7 years outdated. I don't know how often they update RPG Maker,
I
but
know there was like a 2006 or 2007
yeah.
by then. It was, yeah, quite out of date.
I know some of the versions are free to download now. They have like 8, 9 different versions on Steam. I was messing around with it when I had a work from home job. It was one of those
Yeah.
things I could just kind of mindlessly type in. But
I read a lot of warnings about incompatibilities, and like anticipating that, I didn't get any like RPG Maker emulator or whatever. Somebody sent me something about that. All I did was download it off of itch and put it in compatibility mode for XP.
oh, see, I didn't run in compatibility mode. What I ended up doing, I had this in the later section, but there's not a whole lot, so we might as well talk about it now for getting it running. What I ended up doing was I downloaded a program called Easy RPG Player, and you literally just drop it in the folder of the game where the regular game exe is, and you run that instead, and it just updates RPG Maker to run natively in modern Windows. So that's what I did, because I had a bug where for some reason, no matter what I did, the up key, like the W key, so Philip was constantly just walking up no matter what I did. But I fixed it. You can also fix it apparently if you plug in a controller of any type and push buttons. I don't know why, but that fixed it too.
I think we were playing two totally different versions of this game.
I don't know. From what I've heard, it doesn't happen. Was reading on some of the forums online, it doesn't happen to everyone. It's just a random problem that some people get and some don't because Windows is fun.
Yeah. Oh, I love Windows. It's been a pain in the ass, and I'm looking forward to the next Windows 11 pain in the ass when I can't put off upgrading anymore. Unless SteamOS comes out first.
God, imagine running
On
your entire
desktop.
life on SteamOS.
probably could. I mean,
Yeah.
people like that was a genre of YouTube video for a while. It's like, can I run my work from home business on Steam OS? And I'm like, oh yeah, you can. It's just weird.
Hell yeah. Might take the dive then. But so let's get back to Space Funeral. So the plot setup of the game is you play as Philip, a young man who's recently deceased and is sent out into the world by his parents, being told to eat your greens, and I think you should leave. At least that's what I took away from the intro. You're standing next to a casket with your own body in it. And all your parents say, I assume they're your parents, is I think you should leave and eat your greens. I believe they're called mom and dad.
Come in, the water's fine.
Yeah. That's way.
I didn't take. Yeah, sorry, spoiler. I didn't take that away from it so much as that is the nature of the world, and it just kind of I had played like a couple other Catamites games before, and I just was not expecting things to make sense, so I didn't read too much into that. And
I also took recently deceased because there are multiple people who's like, oh, you're trying to do this,
It's
do
too
this,
late for
it's
you.
it's too late for you, or
Yeah.
you're already fucked. But
yeah, I took that. I just kind of took it as vagueness and went with it and didn't question it.
it does just kind of fit the vibe of
But it
the
does
game
fit
overall.
the vibe that you are recently deceased, or insofar as you can die in this world.
Yeah,
What stood out to me more is clearly this is a world where like I mean very central to the themes, like the nature of reality is just fucked
Yes.
in this world, like to the point that you will see tile set glitches and characters will acknowledge the glitches.
Yeah, it's just part of the world. Like the world itself is,
Formless.
yeah, that's why you're going to the city of forms.
Mm-hmm.
It does really, as far as like the writing goes, I love it. I think it's hilarious. Like there's a lot of really fun characters, even for most characters maybe getting like 2 full sentences at most. Like
At most.
you get a lot. I mean, and then you run into Dracula and he just talks.
And the whole exchange there, like is, I don't want to say lazily written, casually written. It's like, you know, like the dialogue, the first person dialogue is very like, you happen to run into a famous person in the comment section. It's like, hey, what's up? Hey, deal. It's like with the same cadence that you would ask a chat bot questions and not expect anything.
Well, I just love that whole section. That's a little later in the game, but I love it because it's like such a big setup from the outside. And you walk into this building and you're like, okay, something's going to be here. There's literally nothing.
Yeah.
You have this overtly long conversation that like definitely it's funny, but like it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't help you at all. You can't interact with anything else in the building that I was attempted to interact with.
You just you talk to Dracula, you coax him into admitting he likes to smoke weed,
And he plays piano.
And by coaxing him, like when you're talking to Dracula, it feels like the conversation feels more like you're speaking a language to someone where they don't fully understand that language, and you can't tell if they are sincere in their answers or they are just doing their best to follow along.
Yeah, the whole exchange is bizarre, and I love it.
It's in there, I think, for pacing. You know, a break from going through the wasteland, listening to Ruth White.
Yeah,
listening to evil Wendy Carlos.
Yeah, the music, we have a whole music section later, but like the music does really set this vibe. The whole writing, everything, even though it is funny, it's got this like very dark, very somber feeling. Like all the monsters are like bleeding skulls with like crab legs and like just the head of ghouls.
It's hard to tell what is a monster and what is just scenery.
Yeah, there's literally one of the first monsters you fight. You run into in the world. So you walk around the world. If you end up colliding with a monster, you fight it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the monsters you run in, you actually can walk into is the skull crab. I believe it's literally called the skull crab, but sometimes when you fight them, the second monster would just be an arm reaching out of the ground. But you can also see those arms reaching out of the ground around the map, but you can't interact with them or fight them. They're just kind of there as decoration too. So they're around the map, but you can only fight them if you run into a skull crab. So I think they just had the sprite and was like, this looks good. I'll have it sticking out of the water over here. I'll put it.
I don't remember that at all, with the arm coming out of the ground and fighting them. I'm not disputing that it happened to me. I just, the whole game is a fever dream.
That's also very beginning of the game. That's like the first area you go to. I believe, yeah, because you have to rent a boat to move one screen over, and then you go into the swamp cave, and it's in the swamp cave with the knights.
Okay, that would be why. I didn't get to that. I went north first because people were talking a lot about north, and I kind of I was kind of overwhelmed starting out, so I just stuck with the cardinal direction that was being repeated the most.
Okay, so you probably only...
I did come back to the swamp after I got my bearings, but for some reason, maybe it's something that didn't occur for me because I didn't go a place the game expected me to go.
I think the swamp is an optional area. Because if you talk to the wizard, there's a wizard in the starting town, and specifically people say, he's the guy who specifically says, it's too late for you, but he specifically says there's some good items out in the swamp. So I took it as like, okay, so it's dangerous to go north, but there's nice items out in the swamp. So go out in the swamp, I'll go a level, get some items, and then move forward. But it is interesting. I really liked how much, it keeps moving. It never hits that, like, especially fan-made RPG Maker games where you're like, all right, now I'm going to spend 15 minutes grinding the monsters in this area so I can level up. I feel like the pacing was actually really natural. I never felt like I had to just take extra fights. The only time I did is later in like the Frost land. I fought a bunch of those frogs because every single one gave you a health item.
Yeah, and that's always fun, clicking through every single... You got a small blood. 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 You got a small blood.
Yeah. I actually only died once, and it was not through combat. It was through a dialogue option.
Did you get too much of your blood sucked?
Yes.
Nice one, dumbass. I didn't fall for that.
I just wanted to see what would happen. I was just like, yeah, why not?
I liked that whole sequence, but that was just a little funny moment of just like, I could sense that, like, I had gotten the impression that this is the type of game where they will, like, if you act a little too weird for the setting, not weird in general, the game will make you fall in line or show that your actions have consequences. So I was kind of like, no, you've already had some of my blood. That's enough. And the text response I got was just like, yeah, well, you can't blame an old man for trying.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hate you.
That's what I got the second time. But yeah, I feel like as much as we talk about it, it's really something that you have to experience just for yourself, just taking it all in, actually stopping and talking to everyone. Like, I would say maybe 10% of the dialogue is useful. There's a lot of like side content that I don't know. I feel like I missed some things, but I was looking online. It looks like I saw most after my playthrough. So, because this is a game I absolutely love, but I probably haven't played it since like 2012. So this was like going back to it. A lot of the little details had been lost to me anyway, though. I did find like extra stuff like the steak farm and the secret pyramid. I did the secret entrance to what is it? Rip the Blood.
With the
fortress.
Password.
Well, you have to do the password. There's you'll see it in the video, but maybe I'll let that for people themselves. But I don't actually remember what happens when you're in the town that's taken over by the criminals, and then you have to go into the fortress. If you go in the front door, do you have to like kind of fight your way through that area up to him?
Not a little bit, yeah.
Okay, because
they're a little bit of a I keep trying to put this off, the like Pokemon alerts.
Yeah. They're only the criminals. It sounds like ever do it.
And Like if you're only understanding a JRPGs is like old Pokemon, you'll be fine because that was
Yeah.
mine.
It's Pokemon meets Chrono Trigger. I believe Chrono Trigger because it's got the timed combat.
Yeah, that was a little foreign to me, but
Yeah.
it took some getting used to. And I still don't like it, but Space Funeral makes it very easy. It's like a minor enough thing, and it also has like auto battling as well.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, yeah. At least for me, you have an option of like fight, auto, and I think escape or attempt to like flee, attempt escape.
I thought it was flee, item, and mystery. Mystery you can use once for
Yeah.
battle, and it does just a random effect.
I
didn't use it
we
that
are
much.
definitely playing different versions of the game. Mine had auto battle in it. I'll show you what I mean. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, but it's like the first option. You get 3 options of fight, auto, and something else. And
It's like fight abilities, mystery.
well, that's another menu.
Item. Okay.
Yeah, like once you've committed to one of those options and the fight proceeds, then you have like the whole like skills, items, mystery, and then I think attempt to flee.
Okay.
Or
See, I never messed with that. I never tried to flee from anything. The thing is, the game is really easy. Like it does have
Yeah.
like mechanics, and I guess we can get into the mechanic talk.
we're
a
gonna
little
have
bit,
to because this game is so like mechanically dense for how short and to the point it is.
Yeah, it's very standard RPG fare. I mean, it is made in RPG Maker. I'm pretty sure it's the basics. And I saw in the store there were items that were being sold for an extreme amount of money that I never even got. So like,
You
and
didn't
I was
get the Zorg cannon from Fifth Element.
yeah, I didn't get the Zorg cannon or the laser boots.
I got both.
Oh, did
I'll
you?
tell you why later.
Okay.
Well, I think we're actually moving along towards that anyway. I mean, we are talking about mechanics. If you want to, you can just grind the fuck out of this game. I mean, battles are easy enough that there were a couple points where I was getting kind of annoyed with fighting, but also like it's so easy. I can just keep racking up money and racking up money. And also just selling all of anything that I have that becomes obsolete. I turn around and sell it to a shopkeep, and that's when I started noticing like anytime I sell something to somebody, I just get the response, "I hope you die," which is great tonal enforcement of this game. But yeah, you there's a way to get like it's really funny too that like you have like different types of knives or different types of boots mainly, and then just the gun from Fifth Element as an option. But yeah, there's I ground enough money to buy the 2 most powerful weapons to just plow through the rest of the game. Fuck it, why not?
Yeah. See, there's also there's a lot of these like weird side quests that end up going nowhere, but they're like mentioned throughout the game. Like I think in one of the first, I think it's in the first village, one of the first NPCs you can talk to. It tells you, I hear legend of a mysterious lion village that pays an intense amount of money for steaks. And then later on you can find a steak farm, and it's like, okay, so I'll buy a steak.
You adopt a steak.
Yeah, and so maybe I picked the wrong one. I don't know. But then I got to the steak village, and you meet the one lady who wants to buy the steak from you. I was like, yeah, okay. And I got 300 rupees for it, which is like nothing.
Not worth it at all.
It's like, yeah, for it to be like an entire area with multiple indoor sections of this building. And
the Lion Village is like really funny for how much like
build up
it has, to the point where there's like multiple ways of, I think there's like I forget the little like fucking forest elves.
Yeah.
Like if you capture them, they give you like some alternate way of getting into the village.
No, if you catch enough of them, they give you an entrance into the secret elf village, which gives you some items.
Oh yeah, that's what it was, because I saved that for the end. But yeah, like just a lot of build up, and it's just normal ass. It's just everyone's a lion, and they talk about their history and culture, which is like neat. Any lore you can get.
So lions grow underground, and it is like heaven to them, and so they use meat to lure them to the surface to continue their species above ground.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is exactly how most feline species work.
But yeah,
These are jaguars, I'm pretty sure.
it is funny. The Lion Village is pretty much there just to give you a place to like heal and buy some items. The same shopkeep that is everywhere else is also there.
Never mind that this town also has its own shop.
Yes.
As well.
My favorite shop, though, has to be in the desert town. There's the regular shop, and then there's this one that's just, I've got lots of great shit for sale. Yeah. And there's, like, tons of customers, and the customers walking around being like, I am satisfied with the selection of shit for sale.
Yeah.
But it's all weapons. It's, like, the best items in the game.
No, it's... No, there's two different stores.
Isn't the shit store the one that's got, like,
the shit store is the one that has all the
cannon
hats
and stuff?
And also... Well, worthless shit is a mechanic. I'm going to come back to that. But also just I like this stood out to me enough that I paused the game to write it word for word into my notes. All of this, all caps, worthless shit at low prices. Can you afford not to buy it? And I love that like RPG tendency of like highlighting things that the game wants you to notice and like all caps. It just makes the dialogue so much funnier. Here's some other ones I wrote down. My muscular form allows me to, all caps, crush bugs and mice. My name is Hugh Leopard. Would you like to see a pyramid? It's just all very like stuff you could picture David Lynch screaming at you.
That was a very fun side of quest, the pyramid. Completely unnecessary, but you do get like at this point they're probably item upgrades unless you bought stuff at the worthless shit store, but they are like, honestly, a lot of it I took to the end of the game unless I found upgrades later. I don't think I bought a weapon after that, but like it is a fun like puzzle. So you're in like these pre-made little maze with mummies running around, and there's chests everywhere, and you want to try and get the chests emptied. But if a mummy bumps into you, you're teleported back outside the maze.
It's basically Pac-Man.
Yeah, but it is a lot of fun, and there's a couple section. I think there's 2 more sections like it later in the game.
There's like variations on it,
yeah,
where it's like it's not quite Pac-Man, but the idea of you're going through a maze, you're trying not to get touched.
Yeah.
And reversals on that too with the elves, you know,
where you're trying to touch them and they're running away.
Yeah.
Which is a fun reversal. I didn't think about it that way.
It's just a very, very simple gameplay, but fun experimentations in that.
Also weirdly in-depth combat though for how little of it I ever used.
Yes, and like, that's why I wanted to come back to worthless shit.
Like, there's all these mechanics that you just really don't need to use.
Yeah,
like,
and it's like the...
ghosts, what is it? Criminals are afraid of Bibles.
Right, yeah.
Ghosts are afraid of old movies.
Or weak to sentimental objects.
Yeah,
so you buy old movies to throw at ghosts. You buy Bibles to throw at criminals.
And there's one
Animals are weak to magic eye pictures, and people will just be like...
because it confuses them.
Right, and you've got to try that on your dog. It's just... And people will just dump this on you in the most like obtuse way, like hilariously obtuse way. Like someone will block you from or be on like in your way, and then just like, hey, by the way, little secret, criminals are afraid of Bibles. They're weak to Bibles. And so I just kept a Bible in my inventory like the whole game until I fought Rip the Blood, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah, he's a criminal. And my one Bible. Never mind that like the worthless crap store sells like all of these items and they're not expensive. I've just kind of forgot about it, and like,
yeah, I think I bought one of each, and then I only ever even tried them during boss fights. The only other time there's also like, I think you learn like 8 different abilities per character. The only one I ever used was like horse leg can do stampede that it attacks multiples. Because when you fight like the swarm of frogs, you can one-shot all of them with that.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, and like on bosses, I would use the heavy kick he's got. Otherwise, I just like didn't really bother. You could two punch just fighting the one of each monster on every screen, basically. Like, I didn't grind at all. I felt like it's so easy because I mean, you're not there to like, you're realistically getting through this in under 2 hours.
It took me 3, but again, I was grinding a little bit more than I needed to.
but it's not like in-depth combat. It's not Chrono Trigger where you're gonna have to be like, or even like Super Mario RPG. I feel like is more difficult than this game. Like this is definitely for the vibes. This is a game exclusively for the vibe. Which I think gets us to the art and music. The art is great. It's very what's the word? It's all like pixel art. It's
very
very
like
ugly in a good way.
they're yeah,
Like it's intentionally off-putting, I feel like.
it's very garish and done in a way that it's like a lot no shading. It's a lot of primary colors because it makes all the palette swaps later in the game that much more striking. Like in the Blood Caverns, where everything is red.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
I'm gonna come back to that for the music.
Yeah, I feel like it's very striking. It does like have that early Super Nintendo area design. Like this could be a Pokemon game, this could be a Zelda game, the way you walk around. Like sure, some areas have like tiers, you have to walk upstairs, there's little walls and stuff, but it is very simple. It is you bump into something, you fight it. It doesn't have the Pokemon like random battles ever, but I prefer that, honestly. At least for something like this.
I speaking of Pokemon battles, there is a point where, sorry, I'm trying to copy and paste something here because I'm gonna bring something up that is there. It is, and I want to make sure I say it right, which I won't. I don't speak French. Yeah, at one point, the only enemies that you have that will walk up to you instead of like needing to touch you are the criminals. And if you actually stop and like let it play out, like the alert music is literally ripped from Pokemon, or
it's like
it's like
backwards.
exact.
It's very similar. It threw me off at first. I was like, wait, what?
It is very funny.
Yeah.
And I mean, like it's clearly in there for a joke, but it very very funny. Most of the other music is like kind of deeper cuts than that.
Oh yeah, like a lot of it is just random things from the BBC Music Library.
Well, not even that. Like also some like psychedelic rock. Scum Village comes to mind with a song called "White Waking by." It's French. It's I can't say it, but I think it translates to like "walking naked."
Les Râles des Nudes.
Yeah. Which is a crazy Japanese psych rock band that I don't know enough about, but I know they get up to some crazy shit. The stuff that stood out to me the most though is the Ruth White stuff, who you'll find most of the stuff in this that is hers is like Moog music with spoken word poetry over it from, and it says so in the credits, and I actually like took screenshots of it. Goodness gracious, one sec. There we go. Like the Blood Cavern theme, for example, is Spleen by Ruth White, which uses an excerpt from a poem by Charles Baudelaire.
Oh yeah, Baudelaire.
Baudelaire, excuse me.
Never actually read any of him, but
well, you heard some of him.
Yeah.
That is his poetry that she's reading, as is my understanding. I think if we have time, we should probably put Spleen by Ruth White in as a sample. I don't think we're gonna get struck for it. It's all
probably not. It is very funny. Just music wise, like there's an entire section where they warn you about the wild man in the woods.
And it's just the guy from T-Rex.
It's a bizarre like T-Rex joke about cause it's the 20th century boy, they call him sometimes. And like it just plays that song by T-Rex.
The end credits is a song by Mink DeVille.
Yeah, and it does credit all the music and stuff during the credits.
Yeah,
so
that's the only reason I know. Well, that and like YouTube comments.
Yeah, I'm legitimately just looking up a list right now because there's so much of it. There is a lot of it. It's from the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, which I'm kind of interested in checking out. There's a couple tracks from that, but apparently it's Paddy Kingsland and a group of people doing like synth pop for the BBC in like 1973.
Yeah, when that is still a very new genre.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, I guess, I mean, there's a lot of like I think the more like rock tracks he's pulling from all kind of come from the same era as this other stuff, this like late 60s, early 70s, early electronic music, which is a very interesting vibe because a lot of it just sounds kind of, if not outright dark, kind of seedy, and goes really well with this kind of greasy world you inhabit.
All right, so I at least vaguely confirmed from looking online that when you encounter a criminal in the game, it does play, quote, male trainer encounter theme by Junichi Masuda, which is specifically the male encounter theme from Red and Blue.
Yeah, I don't think that's credited either.
I don't think that one is. No, this is like a fan list, but
yeah, it's very like this is all like outsider art, and I was very surprised that stuff is being credited to begin with. That's not like, I don't mean that as an insult against the Catamites. I mean that in the sense of like, I don't know that people were really thinking about this, about giving credit to like, you know, a track from a 35-year-old like obscure album in 2009 2010 for your Game Jolt game on RPG Maker.
Yeah, no one cared.
But you know, this artist cared enough to throw in credits.
Yeah. I do think it's very funny in the credits, though, during the song that plays specifically in Dracula's Castle, and the credits specifically just says, it's track 11 from this album. Sorry, the name's in Russian.
Yeah.
Question mark. But apparently, looking at this list someone put together on Rate Your Music, it's called The Penguins Dance by the Ensemble of Electro-Musical Instruments under the direction of Yaroslav Meschernin and composed by Alexander Kolmanov. It's a very, very long album title, and I butchered that, so I apologize.
We're both, yeah, that's part of the job of being a podcaster, is not saying people's names correctly.
Yes. But yeah, the music's really fun, and what's cool too is all of it is, I think it's mostly the full tracks are just in a folder called music, and it specifically says in the I think in one of the credit sections, I can't remember if it's on the itch or if it's in the end actual credits, but it's like the full names of the songs are in the folder named music, and there's just a track with all the songs in it. So like if
it's like a single track,
yeah, for each song. That's why every time you go to an area, it just starts the whole song over. So you probably,
I gotcha.
I'd have to double check.
I misunderstood.
I didn't fully file dive, but I have a good feeling if you were like in the iPod era, you could just drop these into iTunes and you just have that song on there now.
Like the ID3 tags are already there.
Yeah.
If I played it on my laptop, I'd pull it up right now and look, but I didn't. I played it on my desktop. I misunderstood. I thought I was making a face because I thought you were saying that all of the songs were on one singular audio track. I'm like,
no, that would be an insane way to do that. And it's just calling a play tag every time you walk into an area.
I mean, like, I've been experimenting with Gold Source, and it's like not remotely a new, like, for you to like take a long wave file and put cue points in there. That's got to be like early 90s tech.
But that's also still way more complicated than loading separate MP3 or WAV files or whatever.
I think it'd be a very funny thing for a dev to do is to make a soundtrack one audio file and then add cue points. Yeah.
That's I don't want to be too much, but we brought up last time too. That's like pirate software level, quote unquote, dev optimization. Well, if you load the track once, you never have to do it again.
Yeah, just keep the entire soundtrack in RAM for the entire duration of the game.
No loading.
Perfect optimization. I'm not going to talk about optimization. If you like, I do have a little bit of stuff out there that I've made, and like very little stuff I've made in like Gold Source, and it's not remotely optimized to the point that like in something I put out for a contest, like I will get distant buildings like pop in and out, and like a little bit of lag on an engine from 1998. So I'm I'm no one to talk about optimization.
No, I've done a little bit of game dev, nothing like notable, just like weird experiments in like Unity and Game Maker and a little bit in like RPG Maker. I conceptually enjoy. I've done a lot of game jams, but I end up doing music more than anything. Like I enjoy making games, but it's hard to find a group of people to work on a unified vision for more than like a week or two. That's why I like game jams. Because it is fun to just like, all right, we're doing this weekend, like in the winter, when it's like, well, I'm going to be stuck inside all anyway. Let's make something. That's really fun. But yeah, I haven't done any like big game projects just because I'm not good at coding. I've done, like I said, I coded like with a tutorial, the ability to walk around and wander around an area. And I was like, it's more fun to design this area. So now I have a walking sim because I thought it would be cool to build this. That's about as far as I got. I think I also made like a Star Fox knockoff, but
I remember that. That looked pretty cool.
I do really like that. I wish I could find that. I could just redo it, but
you might have to cut this part out. But that's like just as a quick aside. That's part of the fun of like picking. Why I picked up Gold Source is, like the Half-Life 1 engine is very much like when you're editing a map. That is, I think, that is the game where the level designer is controlling the most out of a game. Like you handle scripted sequences, you handle like brushwork that in a modern game would be model work. You like you the responsibilities of like a modeler and like God, I don't even know, like a little bit of writing even and very little bit in the sense that you are like setting up scripted sequences to happen also fall on the level designer in Gold Source, and it's because it's so low fidelity, it's easy enough to pick up.
I mean, to loop things back around though, that's very much what's happening in like Game Maker with like Space Funeral and stuff. It is very like kind of canned.
Yeah, I mean, I like
it even to the point where when from what little I know about RPG Maker, Game Maker, I'm guessing like you just inject your own tile sets using like a format that the game has pre-baked. Because I mean, even RPG Maker comes with a bunch of pre-made sprites and tiles, and you can like build a whole game using only assets it comes with if you wanted to.
That's part of one of the gags of the ending.
Yeah, which I guess spoilers. Now we can get into the ending.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we already. I'm.
No, I mean now's fine. We've talked about it a lot, but like for the actual ending, it will be in the video. So
yeah,
warning there too.
Fair enough. Yeah. So a lot of the journey of the game is trying to reach the city of forms that has been taken over by an entity by the moon or by Moon, an entity calling herself Moon. That I actually don't know that it's gendered, but whatever. An entity calling themselves Moon that used to be an artist saw a world of forms of perfect forms, felt very self-conscious about their art, and just kind of cast the world into formless chaos. And that's why you see a lot of these hideous monsters and why the entire like landscape is bleeding, why you have land sharks attacking you, why people live inside goblin heads is because you are living in a world afflicted by such formlessness that people living inside it regularly lose their form and become something hideous like Leghorns. It happens to you at one point in the game. Yeah. You go to a djinn and ask for a wish, and regardless of what wish you ask for, it will turn you into a trout, and you have to go to a wizard to restore your form.
Okay, that is one of the few things. That whole section was one of those things I wish I would have spent more time with. I mean, I can always go back. I'm sure the answer is probably no, but I was curious. Like, you kind of confirmed for me if that question does anything. No matter what you pick, it just turns you into a fish.
No matter what you pick, it does turn you into a fish. However, you can wish for money, you can wish for power, you can wish for like
happiness.
Like happiness for like, but it's phrased in like a hokey, quasi altruistic way.
Yeah.
So for money, the djinn gives you $1,000. $1,000 is easy. If you wish for power, you get the Zorg cannon from Fifth Element.
Oh, so it gives you the Zorg cannon?
That's how I got it.
Oh, okay.
The happiness, the djinn says you're full of shit and gives you a self-help book that's not even represented by like an item in game. It's just like he gives you a self-help book and it like you never see it brought up again, and then every option you pick he turns you into a fish.
Yeah, I got the self-help book. I can't remember the title. It's very
Sucker.
long. It's like a full paragraph. It doesn't even matter. The $1,000 is unnoticeable. Like I said, the economy in this, like, there's an insane amount of items and like weapons that you do not need. But so I went for the what I thought would be the funniest option.
I do like that there's a lot of items. It helps give the world some texture.
It does make it feel more in depth, even though it's shallow, but it doesn't really need to be any deeper than it is.
Yeah,
that was the other thing. I was curious to see if there's anything you could do as a fish that you couldn't do without getting. I don't think so, but
I don't know. That's. I wonder if like you can just continue the game in a fish run.
Yeah, I didn't even try and keep moving. I just
remembered the wizard. And I had also looked at a video on YouTube to kind of help me collect my thoughts. So
yeah, you're not a big JRPG kind of guy.
No, I just encountered Yorm.
Yeah, Yorm. Yeah.
Yorm. And come to me if you lose your form. And I immediately like, okay, I'm losing my form at some point in the next half hour. But it front loaded pretty well that you're going to need to come back to Yorm. So that's just kind of the first stop I made. I didn't really think anything of it. And then Yorm gave me more info on where to go to find the City of Forms. Now I'm trying to remember what point to circle back to here.
I will say I did look it up. This is just from what people on apparently Reddit are saying. But if you do, you can just finish the game as a fish, apparently. And it changes nothing.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, you'd think in a game like this, like, oh, you do need to do this to progress, but there's an area or two in a previous section you can go back and get a chest. But no, I think it just literally just changes your game sprite.
Well, I might do a fish run then.
Fish run. I'm also curious because there's all the different stakes and they have the different descriptions. I can have grabbed one quickly, but I wonder if they give you different amounts of money for the different stakes you can adopt.
The video I watched, which is, I wasn't, I hope I'm not plagiarizing any of his stuff. It was by a guy whose channel is called Hey Peter. So if you want to look at his deep dive as well, he is coming from a place that is more familiar with, like Earthbound likes than I am. I've never played Earthbound. But he seemed to give me he gave me the impression that it's like the stakes, it really doesn't matter which one you pick. It's just kind of there to give the world more meat.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
So to speak. No, I do like that though. The game does have a lot of, it feels very dense. Like it feels like it should be a much longer game. Like all these areas feel like they should be more to it. The desert village, I think, did a really good job. I mean, I think it's one of the biggest areas in the game. It's like 3 or 4 screen, and plus the secret pyramid, plus all the areas north where there's like the fortress and stuff. It's definitely the biggest part of the game.
You go into with your doppelganger. That's another reason why, like, I didn't read that as "you are dead." Is you see yourself several times throughout the game in other forms.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just a consequence of formlessness.
Yeah, which is...
You were just seeing, like, kind of broken mirror images of yourself.
Yeah. I don't know. It is interesting. Getting to the end, I do read that a little differently, but I think that is a good reveal. I think might as well go ahead and talk about it. But... So skip ahead.
Yeah.
If you haven't played this yet, I definitely would. But once you defeat the final boss in the City of Form, Moon, you escape, and it is a disgusting kaleidoscope of colors. That section is like hard to look at. But you escape, and you and Leghorse, or I think it's Horseleg. I keep wanting to say that.
Leghorse.
Yeah, Leghorse. You and Leghorse get outside, and you walk outside, and you are the standard Game Maker Studio.
Yeah, like bundled
Like
assets.
standard fantasy RPG assets. The entire world has been replaced, and they're just like, yay, everything's back to normal. And then it kind of pans over like a standard fantasy world, and then you see one of like the bleeding green head houses just sitting there, and that's it.
I took that to be like the warmest possible ending,
Yeah.
where like the character of Moon is like the antagonist, evil, and is just a character motivated by like that did like the horrible atrocities they did based on like insecurity and not feeling good enough, which is we like that's another thing I want to add about the story is you get a lot of, not a lot, but you get these moments of fairly dense characterization for characters you spend all of like 5 minutes with, like Leghorse's brother and Leghorse by extension, and then Moon. But yeah, like I took that to mean that the world's never going back to the way it was, and that the like twisted, hideous art still has a place in this world.
Yeah, because that's even like the main menu is like one of those weird bleeding head houses.
Yeah.
I feel like it does underline more of the characters' Moons, what's a good way to put it? More of their lack of self-esteem than like the actual worth of the world around them. Like even in a quote unquote when they go back to the perfect world, like this bizarre bleeding head of a house is still just there hanging out. I don't know. It also goes back to everyone continually saying it's too late for you, but you are changed back into a normal human sprite. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's a very, very interesting ending. I do like it because it does show like just how much of a vibe you can create out of basically all these standard assets. Like all they did was change the art. Like otherwise I'm pretty sure they just renamed like the basic weapons in RPG Maker. It's the basic items. I watched a video I was trying to see if there's any like secrets I missed. There's not a whole lot, but there is like some unused content, and most of it is just like renamed RPG or Game Maker stuff that wasn't used. And there's like one room. You can look that up on YouTube. It's like a 3-minute video. There's not a lot there though,
Yeah.
so I didn't source it because there's not much to talk about there. But
on the topic of all of the depths of the systems that you have, like kind of exceed that's needed of the game. It is also kind of no wonder that there's like how many fan sequels?
there's so many. So actually,
There's like 5 Space Funeral games.
I linked in our private server. Let me see if I can pull it up. There's a fan link on Reddit. Yeah, I can post this in the server too for everyone. But there's more than I'm gonna count right now because of a recording. But there is at least one Space Funeral original through 10 with also a 3.6 in between there. Some of those are demos, some of those are finished. Then there's like Space Funeral 25. There's a ton of spin-offs. There's a Space Funeral 3D. I saw pictures when I was looking online. Someone was making a like HD edition for some reason. There's so many fan games. I don't know. It's a game where I feel like I don't really want a sequel, but I can understand there is so much room to expand this world and do with it. I understand why someone would
It's kind
expand it or want it to be expanded on.
Yeah. Last year, you and I watched a lot of horror movies for the duration of October.
Yeah, because a friend of ours had never really watched a lot of horror. Your brother.
Yeah.
So he'd asked a couple people to put a list together of horror movies. I ended up making like a 30, like 1 movie a day list.
Yeah, and I didn't keep up with all of them, but I saw a lot of classic horror movies I saw for the first time. And I would walk away from things like, that I kind of turned my nose up at throughout my life, and just walked away with like, I can see why fucking Hellraiser has like 8 sequels, or I can see why Nightmare on Elm Street has 8 sequels.
Yeah.
It's because they were really fucking good, and they set up a world that is amenable to more of that story.
And this is definitely one of those games. I think now would be maybe a good time to move on to some of their other works. But before we do that, we've got a new thing we're doing here on the show. That's right. You, the listeners, we had submit some of your thoughts on the game. I thought it'd be fun to read those as we wrapped up here. So I've got a couple messages from listeners to read. Our first one is from Brian, and he says, I don't know what the fuck this game is, but amazing. Something about the soundtrack and the whole thing puts me in mind of a kid that, over the course of a weekend, played Mother 2, Earthbound for the Yanks, then contracted adenovirus, and in his haze decided to make a new game based on what he'd learned. Playing through this is an experience in and of itself. While you can go find a video and let it play through all la-di-da on that, playing it is in and of itself its own experience. Took 4 hours and 2 sittings. Please try it out.
Do you want me to read squares?
Yeah, if you want to read squares. But on Brian's, I do kind of agree that I did play Earthbound as a kid. Actually, on my PSP, I modded it to play, so I could play NES, Super NES games. And I played like the whole thing on PSP on a bus. We did like a family trip, so I played it on an airplane and like a 3-week bus trip. So I have very good experience.
Didn't like one of the Mother sequels come out for Game Boy Advance in the US, but like very limited numbers?
I believe so, yes. I can't remember which one came out. I think it may have been Mother 3 got released on the GBA, it looks like.
We knew a couple people in high school that like this is like late 2000s and they were obsessed with Mother 3.
Yeah.
That was
I mean, that was when I think the fandom for that, especially online, people started talking about it. That game really blew up. Also, if you're interested, it looks like there's a bootleg cart out there from fans for like $20 where you can just play all 3 Earthbound games on Game Boy Advance. So that's kind of cool.
We love bootleg carts.
Yeah, fuck Nintendo. Their ass ain't gonna put any games on a cartridge. We're gonna put them all on a cartridge. Fuck you.
I will say don't counterfeit cartridges and then sell them as if they're real. That's fucked up. We don't condone that. But if you can get me Doom 2 on the Game Boy Advance as a bootleg and make clear that it's a bootleg, I'll buy it.
Hell yeah. But yeah, it does have like, it is one of those games that really grabs you. I did have that feeling when I actually sat down to like play it, because I played it about a week ago just to get some footage for like the promo thing I put up, but like sitting down and like seriously playing it, I was into it. I think that's why I went so fast. It's just like I just wanted to keep going. Like I think I did it in about half the time I usually give myself to record footage for the show. I was just like going, like I really wanted to get through it. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, do you want to read Squared's?
Yeah. This is from Squared on the Discord. Very much Star Tropic / Earthbound, but it took too much Benadryl and met the Hat Man. Side note, if you think this is Earthbound on Benadryl, wait till you see our next game.
Ooh.
Took about 2 hours to do the main quest without touching some of the side stuff. It's not difficult. Blood Rage plus flex muscles buffs Philip to the point that he one-shots bosses. Moon's whole thing of having the City of Forms as a perfect thing that can't be replicated, so everything else has to be malleable because of the singular form of how things should be has been created, so there's no point in anything else. It's possibly a critique of RPG Maker and JRPG games in general, since they've been distilled down to a specific set of mechanics, especially since you kill Moon and everything shifts back to these standard RPG Maker assets. Side note, welcome to Malice. We have many all caps goods and all caps criminals.
Yeah.
On that, I did see an interview with the Catamites, kind of echoing the same sentiments of like, yeah, it is kind of a critique of not necessarily like RPG Maker, more as like he got the impression, as my read on it is he was getting the impression that a lot of people in the late 2000s thought that video games peaked in the 90s. This is 2010. We had 2007. We had 1998. We had like several like really good years of really good video games. To say that like video games peaked with like what Chrono
Trigger, yeah,
or Chrono Trigger. I agree,
Earthbound
is an insane thing to say. But like we were talking about, we did know people that were really into that in high school, and they were kind of parroting that, like, yeah, no, everything peaked with like Earthbound and Mother 3. You don't need to play anything else.
I feel like that was a sentiment I heard about the Super Nintendo for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Specifically, that's Chrono Trigger and Earthbound, but Super Nintendo in general, it is a great console. I still have one. There are some amazing games on there, but to say that like it peaked, I don't know about that. I do think we're in kind of a weird space right now, at least from the main console manufacturers.
Yeah.
I would say most of these companies are past their prime. Like, I wouldn't say Nintendo or Sony or Xbox are in their prime anymore. Not to say that they can't get better or someone else won't get better. But
It's not to say that they can't get better, but they for sure are in a state of like spasming as the poison overtakes them, and then they like die.
yeah.
They will not. Most of them will not change course because the number has to go up. The indie space is doing fine, but if you have a PS5, oh shit, sorry.
Yeah. And like, I think that kind of gets back to what he was getting at, though, is like, I see that a lot in the indie space. I remember specifically around like the late 2000s, early 2010s, even pre-Gamergate, and we're not going to get into all that, but like just that era, there was this weird optimism from everyone that like we were finally in an era where indie game developers were going to take over. That was going to be the big thing. But we really did only get people parroting Nintendo era.
Right. We
games.
had like fucking Braid and Fez.
And Fez.
And like people discovering Cave Story like 10 years after it came out.
Yeah. It was a weird era, and like I'm not saying those games aren't good, but like I would say now we have indie devs doing way more experimental. There's way more open with platforms like Itch. Like Itch Itch alone, I think, has just blown the doors open. Steam, it's not even Steam Greenlight, where you had to like pay money and then get votes. You remember that, where you had to vote for games to get added to Steam?
Yeah, and then it was just a nightmare to try and regulate, and they did away with it.
Yeah, so I think because people were gaming it anyway, so they ended up just now you just pay to get your game on there.
Yeah, though one day we're gonna cover Project Zomboid, because that was like the first, if not one of the first games that was greenlit on Steam, and it's still in early access. But that's I mean, Project Zomboid is like an exception to the rule of like weird indie development. I don't think anybody should learn lessons from Project Zomboid
on
how to develop a game. In fact, they have a famous like conference they did, or not conference, lecture, what's the word I'm looking for? Panel they did called How Not to Develop a Game. So like they are the exception to the rule. It's a fantastic game, and probably like the most impassioned game by a team of people since Dwarf Fortress, and so far as assistance. But for God's sake, if you're a game developer, don't look at the Indie Stone and say that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I think
because it's given them a lot of anguish.
Yeah, I think the Catamites are like a much better example of how to get into game development. I mean, you can get to the quote unquote more professional, more polished stuff quicker if you want. But I mean, looking at their Wikipedia page, like I said, they had like 10 small like demo games they put out in the year before this came out, and then continued putting out just weird experiments. But in there, they also put out like some great games that we'll talk about in a little bit, because I do want to talk about some of their other work. But like they have a huge amount of games. There's at least one game every year. Most years have 2 or more, and they just put something out just to work on it.
So if there's a lesson to take away, it's like at first limit the scope of what you want to do. Maybe you don't have to make a like the next big multiplayer shooter.
I've seen too many people set out for their first project to be their dream project they've been dreaming of when they're 12. That's going to take them 5 years to put together.
Because then you're going to burn out. Do something, do a couple smaller projects of, little bite-sized things you want to make. I say this as someone who's like, the last time I finished a game I was in 8th grade, and it was on Game Maker. So, I mean, I'm not much of a game dev, but
I mean,
I've done it before.
it's true of any art. I've been in bands.
I'm actively doing that now.
Yeah, but it's true of any art. I've been in bands. Like, the biggest mistake you can be in as a band is, all right, our first project's going to be a full album.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have everything be your magnum opus.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is like, I don't know how to say in a sentence like the feeling at that time of like malaise of like looking at that era you're talking about where everybody thought indie games were going to be the next big thing. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
And it's a hard sell in 2010 when you look at you're coming off of like fucking, I don't know, like Call of Duty, whichever Call of Duty it was in like 2009, 2010, Modern Warfare 2, and then having someone you go to school with tell you that like indies are the future of games, and you look and you see like what just shit in RPG Maker.
No, it was Black Ops in 2010. Like, probably one of like the better Call of Duties.
Fuck me. Okay, I mean, yeah, that would be an interesting month for us to do like Call of Duty, but it's good. Yeah. That could be a whole side series, though. There's a lot of games in that style that are decent enough.
Call of Duty I like because it specifically taps into me for all the weird conspiracy and bullshit.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like you go off of like that, like one of the good Call of Duties, and your buddy from school is telling you indie games are the future, and you look and they're all side scrollers or JRPGs. Yeah. It's a hard sell then, and then now
2010 was Red Dead Redemption, Mass Effect 2, God of War 3, Super Mario Galaxy 2, Halo Reach, BioShock 2, Alan Wake.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, sure, you had things like Amnesia and Limbo.
It was a good time to have a 360, and
yeah.
I mean,
Super Meat Boy.
Well,
had
shit,
just blown up.
Back then, that was when Xbox, if I remember right, maybe it was a little bit later, but Xbox was really experimenting with indie games as well with the arcade.
Yeah, they had the Xbox Arcade where you could pretty much anyone. I don't know how the system of getting your games on there.
There was not much of a filter.
It felt like pretty much anyone. I specifically
People
remember
put up like straight up porn games on there.
Yeah, my friend had gotten a Xbox gift card for Christmas, I believe, and he had like $1 left that you couldn't spend on anything. So we bought like the dumbest game we could find on the Xbox Arcade. It was one of those like cannon games, where you shoot a cannon and you see how far the item you show can bounce. But you are a woman giving birth, and it was a baby shooting out of a woman out of the hospital and bouncing through the hospital and then through town. Like, it was the very like kind of like shock wave like flash game.
Not your dad's Angry Birds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even back then the slop had standards. Now it's just like, do you want to play Tower of Hanoi with breasts? It's not even that. It's like square peg round hole type shit. Endless runners, where it's like, okay, do you want to multiply your forces by 2, or do you want to get a seagull to swoop in and shit on you? Which do you pick? Which ring pin do you pull?
Dude,
Play now, my lord. We are under fucking attack.
I was in a Discord call with some friends, and those ads are so insane that we did like download them and try some of them, and they legitimately are that. They're just like, some horny guy will play like an endless runner while you do math just so he can look at a 3D butt. It's insane.
It's like that, and it's interspersed with ads. Some of them are absolutely not that. Like, it'll be like I know the fucking like ring pull one was like it was like you download the game and it's like Age of Empires but with ads every 5 seconds or something.
Yeah,
it's insidious.
That's an insidious
way, right? It's an insidious way of getting people to play. It's just of just frustrating people. To like, that's not how you do it. All right, fine. I'll show you how it's done. That's top 10 ways of being made to feel stupid. It's like, yeah, okay, I solved the Tower of Hanoi puzzle. I'm still the dipshit that downloaded the app. Anyway, we want to talk about the Catamites' other games.
No, we have another. I'm gonna read one more. One more letter.
Oh shit!
That one. Yeah, that one
I'm
just
sorry.
Really kicked off some conversation. No, that's good.
Shit, I'm sorry.
I have another from Omen to read.
I'm sorry, Omen.
Yeah, Omen says, this kind of game is why I love RPG Maker games in general. You can just cram whatever weird stuff you want in there, and because it's so accessible, you get stuff like Off and the Lisa games and Space Funeral. I love picking up a game and have it be the most off-putting, abrasive stuff, and then walk away feeling like someone pulled my brain out and threw it in a blender with some mayo and pickle juice before dumping it back in my skull. Weird art rules. this game rules.
That was another thing I wanted to mention as well that Omen reminded me of. They mentioned just off-putting abrasive games, and that's where I was going with that is when you look at when the indie revolution did take off, and you look at like fucking Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami was made in Game Maker.
Really?
Oh yeah,
I love Hotline Miami. Did not know that was Game Maker.
Yeah. It made me feel like a fucking stupid chimp because like I was really into Game Maker in like 8th grade.
Yeah.
And some Swede made Hotline Miami in it and never has to work again. I don't know if he does. I actually have not followed. I can't.
I mean, they made a Hotline Miami too, didn't they?
Yeah, they made a Hotline Miami too. I know I think he made a couple more games, but I don't know. I'll have to look into him. Surely we're going to cover Hotline Miami at some point. But I mean, you look at like the big successful indie hits like that. And this is more to your point. Look back at what else they had been doing in the interim. They had just kept making weird, off-putting, abrasive, like very much artist vision games. That's the same guy that did like fucking Mondo Medicals.
Hell yeah.
And just weird stuff like that, where like every NPC is screaming at you through a distortion filter.
You probably didn't get picked up on the mic. The most cartoony, weird truck honk just drove by the house. So I'm looking it up.
That Chevy big block wanted to stop and say hi.
I'm looking it up. So they have only made Hotline Miami, Hotline Miami 2, and Hotline Miami Collected. Apparently they have a new game in development that they announced like 6 years ago, but offhandedly. So
Jonathan Soderstrom is who I'm thinking of. What you mentioned are like released priced games, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, fucking his website's gone.
Did he have a bunch of Game Maker stuff?
Yeah, he did. Oh fuck. I'm sure his website's back up somewhere. Jonathan Soderstrom. Oh, there we go. CactusSquid.blogspot. Okay, there we go. Has several games going back to 2008. He stops updating his blog around 2014, which makes sense because Hotline Miami 2 came out in 2015, and I think holy shit. Sorry, just looking at some of his weirder titles. Made several games, but you have to kind of sift through a blog to find them, unfortunately.
I mean, I'm sure you can find them collected online or something, but that is unfortunate of this era. Like, I'm glad we're really lucky that the Catamites has gone ahead and actually updated their website and their games to be on itch instead of just randomly collected across like Game Jolt pages and whatnot. But I think that is, first of all, thanks everyone for writing in. I really appreciate it. But also, I feel like that's a good transition into their other games. Because another game of theirs that I really like that they did was Goblet Grotto.
I fucking love Goblet Grotto.
Goblet Grotto, if you thought this game was mind-bending, that game you have to learn an entire another language to understand a single line of dialogue in it.
If you want to read the dialogue.
You also do not have to read any of the dialogue.
I mean, the whole point of the experience is so, like, one of the reasons I love this game so much, I think I mentioned this in Marathon, is growing up, our family had a Macintosh and like a booklet of shareware discs. So a lot of games were like this, where they were just like a snippet of a game that I felt like I was supposed to read a manual for, and I'm like completely fucking lost. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like 8 years old and I'm trying to play Marathon 2. And I'm not like the best reader in the household. So like, it's just every game is a vibes based game at that point when you're like 6 years old, really, if I'm being honest. Our first computer was a like beige Macintosh my dad brought back from the office. So like Marathon was one of the games on there, and I played Pathways into Darkness more than that. But like a lot of like weirdo shareware titles that were like, if you wanted the full game, you had to like send someone a fucking check in the mail.
Yeah.
And when you're a little kid and you're playing a lot of this, it's just like
The original indie revolution, if you will.
honestly, yeah. No, oh God, I don't want to get down that rabbit hole, but
Not
like
today, but
especially like it's weird in Mac. Yeah, I mean like you.
even in PC, that was
Oh yeah,
really
in PC
common.
it
Was like
was too.
these people would either have like computer shops or be running these out of their houses
Yeah,
and just
whereas in Mac, it's like you have someone make like a virtual pet program, and then you like figure out where they are now, and they like make a living off of fetish art, or they were making a living off of fetish art since like the mid 2000s. It is like untamed wilderness. So just all like vibes based experiences. Goblet Grotto is like playing a game on like a Macintosh Performa in 1996 that you like when you're like barely old enough to read and you're reading like fucking jumpstart shit. You're not reading like marathon terminal briefings.
yeah, you're barely
You're
getting
not reading
through Lumpy
dialogue.
Bear Goes to the Moon or whatever.
Right. Like this is like the commercial games we had. Like when we bought a full game, it wasn't Doom. It was Putt Putt Goes to the Moon.
Yeah.
Which, I didn't grow up with LucasArts games, but I did grow up with Humongous Entertainment
Oh
games.
yeah, I was a big Freddy Fish and Spy Fox kid.
Oh fuck yeah! Like I'm definitely covering Putt Putt Goes to the Moon for Horror Month.
Oh, that would be a fun to do kids horror month. You could do Pajama Sam night. I can't remember what's called, the nightmare one. It's like
Aren't they all kind of like that?
there's one specifically though that's like don't be afraid of night.
I mean, none of these games are actually scary, but making a joke about how later on these games were put on Steam, and a lot of people will.
Yeah, Pajama Sam 2, No Need to Hide When It's Dark Outside.
What a title. And as you do on Steam, when an old game comes back and it's a kid's game, it's all like, yeah, this is a choices matter, spooky, scary hentai horror game. Just like user tag spam. I think Steam has fixed that now, but it was very funny
because anyone could add any tag to any game.
Yeah, and if enough people did it,
Pajama Sam is hentai now.
Right. It was very funny to like see that pop up as now available and then look and it's like hentai tagged.
Because what's funny is
Hentai,
because those games are also selling well,
survival,
which means anyone who subscribed to or
choices
plays a lot of
matter.
hentai game would then be spammed with a notification that's like, you might enjoy Pajama Sam.
I mean, to be fair, those people are looking at that and we're like, oh man, I haven't played Pajama Sam in 1 year.
No, a Goblet Grotto is super rad though. You play it as a frog wizard who goes around collecting goblets in a poison fantasy realm. It's a 3D-ish game. It's basically just wander around for as long as you can, stay alive, collect some goblets, fight some things.
Yeah.
It is a full game. There's a full language you can learn. There's a full story there. But good luck.
The intended experience is being peripheral to that. The intended experience is like, which is insane to me. Like, and I think speaks to like how authentic of a vibe that the Catamites wanted to make is to basically write a full fucking game and then translate it to fucking wingdings.
Yeah. Like it's their own, so the character constantly talks to you and it's in a language that is their own, basically wingdings, but their own,
it's like a
own font,
like
hieroglyphic,
frog hieroglyphics
that they designed for the game specifically. And there's a couple you'll pick up pretty early on, like you can tell like when your character needs a health item and stuff.
Yeah.
But like it is literally stuff like the character will be like, I am hungry, I am tired. Like,
yeah.
He's constantly just telling you how he feels, and you kind of need to figure that out to play the game well.
Which I like. That's the fun of it, though. Don't learn like frog cuneiform first. Play the game blind and like
Then
have
go
the
back.
experience of like trying to guess what these things mean.
Yeah, it does come with like a 10-page
really
manual, but
and the like even the manual, if I remember right, most of the manual is in amphibian Sanskrit.
yeah, there's also some of the things your character says are completely unknown. Like I got really into that game. Even fans haven't translated everything your character can say, and even there are even symbols that just aren't in the manual to tell you what it is, so no one knows what he's saying. There's also an item, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's also an something you can do in game that drives your character crazy, which adds whole new cuneiform that no one knows what it means, and it may not mean anything. No one's sure if they're just going crazy or what.
Nice.
But yeah, it is a very fun game. Check out Goblet Grotto. It's on my list. I won't be soon, but I would. Their most recent game is an Anthology of the Killer.
Right, yeah. We almost glazed over that one. That's one that I have heard a lot about and like, brought up in like various indie game channels of like, I think Grimbeard, big fan of Grimbeard. We love Grimbeard.
We used to hang out and watch his vids. Good guy.
Great. Like probably my favorite long form game content creator. Next to like, I would say Civi, but Civi is like short form compared to Grimbeard. Grimbeard does like 3 hour long. If you're into very long content, Grimbeard might be for you. I mean, I'm speaking to a lot of Blank Bodies listeners. Grimbeard is for you. But anyway, like is covered a lot on indie channels and is kind of that sort of retroactively 2.5D. What I mean by that is that sort of Don't Starve style 3D. Goblet Grotto is that same way. And the killer, the Anthology of the Killer is very much that same, like, you're in a 3D world, you are following a 2D sprite interacting with other 2D sprites in this 3D world. Which may not sound like just before you like look into the game, look at screenshots, watch some videos, or God forbid play it. Like, if I remember right, even though it's being sold as an anthology, all of the individual stories,
yes,
of which there are several, I believe are free on itch.
No, so it was originally released as 9 individual horror games as like a series. Kind of like how you're talking about all these horror movies have like all these sequels. It's 9 individual games that were originally released on Game Jolt. So he's still releasing his games on Game Jolt all the way up to 2024. They're just also on itch. So you can still get a lot of these free games, maybe paid games on Game Jolt. They're still being uploaded there. But so I'm looking at the Wikipedia page source. But so they then went back and released all of them as one big collection called Anthology of the Killer that also has bonus content. So there is content that's exclusive to the paid version. But the series follows a young woman named Bibi, a college student and resident of a city filled with serial killers, who explores her surroundings to find spooky content to write about for her zine. In the 9 games, she ends up in bizarre and dangerous situations, from her encounters with various serial killers and other creatures. So yeah, it sounds like a really good... It just came out the end of last year, I believe. So I haven't had a chance to play it. It's on my list. I might pick that over Goblet Grotto, just because I played Goblet Grotto. But
I might give Goblet Grotto another try because it's personal to me.
Goblet Grotto is one of those games I just keep downloaded.
Yeah,
I just have it. It's something like, oh, I have to go in bed in 20 minutes. None of my friends are online to play a multiplayer game. I'm just gonna fuck around in this. Like, I'm not gonna get anywhere. But that's not the intended purpose anyway, so.
Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. We almost named our podcast after the Catamites game.
Oh, yeah.
We went with, we were stuck on either Pleasure Dome or Pleasure Drome.
Yeah.
And that was going to be a reference to one of the Catamites games, the Pleasure Dromes of Kublai Khan, if I remember right.
I believe,
which I haven't played. I have not played that, but I mean... so it is kind of in the name of the podcast. That gave us the idea for the dome.
Yeah, we kind of threw a lot of shit together. Was that them?
I'm pretty sure it was, unless I'm mistaken. Let's do a quick fact check to make sure that.
Yeah, I'm typing it in.
Yeah.
Google is fighting me every step of the way. With the spelling of this.
Let's see.
Yes, Pleasure Dromes of Kublai Khan by the Catamites.
Okay.
Looks like that's on Game Jolt. It's not... I don't know if it's on their itch. I'm not seeing it on there. That's why I had to Google it. And it took me that long because Google hated...
misspelling Pleasure Dome.
It auto-corrected my search results, too, to like, no, Kublai Khan did not have a Pleasure Dome kind of results.
Hey, that's good for our SEO, though.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to take over.
Thanks, Sundar Pichai.
Hell yeah.
Are you gonna have to water that one out?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, fuck Sundar Pichai. Fuck Bill Gates too. But most of all, fuck Randall S. Pitchford III.
That's a lot of people.
We got it. I'm not gonna make that joke. All right.
We got to make a not a list that doesn't exist, just like the Epstein list doesn't exist.
I think we're gonna have to retroactively water some things.
Anyway,
Uh,
I guess it's our outro. So thanks for checking us out. We do, if you enjoy what we listen to, we are over on the Blank Bodies Discord. We got a whole channel. That's where people have been submitting their responses. So thanks, Brian Squared and Omen, for sending those in. We really appreciate that. We also have a Patreon. You can chuck us a couple bucks if you like what we're doing. Our first goal we have up, and it is $10 a month, and that is called Breaking Even, and that will cover all of my hosting and software costs. So we have a couple ideas for our next goals, including maybe giving away some games, maybe $110, and it's called I Make $100. But who knows? We'll work on that after we break even, so to speak.
Yeah, my idea was a sort of branded plate carrier that has like a stinky gamer written on it, and like kind of this like gothic kind of custom chopper style text.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great ideas we're floating around.
Before we go,
we got to announce our next game.
Right. So
and it's your turn to pick. So I don't even remember what our theme was. It was just kind of indie games, and then
I think it was either Earthbound likes or RPG Maker games.
I think it was just indie games, and we turned it into Earthbound like RPG Maker games.
Fucking idiot came up with that category. That's like the whole fucking podcast.
Well, the first
idiot was me.
Yes, the first week was like personal favorites, and then we're like, oh, we'll pick an indie game, and then we both picked two very similar games for both themes, to where the theme ended up narrower than the original intention. Because the first week was like, oh, we'll pick like an old favorite game of ours, and we both picked like an old FPS 90s game, and then we're like, oh, we'll do an indie game, and we both picked Game Maker Earthbound likes.
Yeah, because I think Earthbound likes is similar or a better descriptor, because I don't think this one was done in RPG Maker. But yeah, so Omen, you guessed correctly, by the way, without even realizing it. Lisa the Painful RPG, or just Lisa the Painful now, will be our next game. It is available up on Steam for, I think at the time of this recording, it's $20. I think that's worth it. It's gonna be a hard sell for some people, but I think that's worth the price.
I might already have it. I know I haven't played it.
Yeah, I had made a joke earlier. Squared had said that Space Funeral felt like Earthbound if it took too much Benadryl and saw the Hat Man. Where Lisa is that, it's Earthbound, you took too much Benadryl and saw the Hat Man. The Hat Man told you to commit atrocities, and then you woke up from a 8-year slumber, and then is like the beginning of that Imagine Dragons song. In fact, I think that's a good description of the setting. I'm waking up to ash and dust, I wipe my ass, and I slap my nuts, is a pretty good taster for what Lisa has to offer you. Lisa the Painful on Steam.
And we're technically it is Lisa the Painful. There's technically Lisa the First. It is a fan game. We'll probably talk about it in passing, but we're not playing it.
No, it's a fan game for like Yume Nikki. So the episode for next episode.
Yeah, we'll save all that. But don't play Lisa the First, even though it's technically the first in the series. The story is its own thing. They are connected, but also they have to be somewhat legally distinct. It's weird. We'll get into it.
For now, it's a Terminator 1, Terminator 2 kind of thing. You don't need to see Terminator 1 for Terminator 2. You can just watch it. Lisa the Painful is like that. You don't need to have played Lisa, and we'll tell you why later.
You're right. It wasn't Game Maker. It was RPG Maker.
I corrected you on that like 4 times. Oh, wait, Lisa was?
Yes.
Oh, fuck me. Okay, well, there we go. I guess it is RPG Maker Month.
Nice. All right, well, that's all I got for you. Go click our links. Give me $5, please. I think it's $4, actually. Give it to me.
Give it to Hunter.
That accidentally almost came off sounding like an accent, and I didn't mean it to. And I just want to apologize that...
to all the Scots out there.
Yeah. I did not mean to imply that all Scottish people are greedy. You can you can tell Sarah on me.
I
if
know.
You have
Yeah,
to.
I was about to say you're only saying that because Sarah's gonna hurt you. Well,
We're all afraid of Sarah.
we're all afraid of Sarah. I'm sorry I'm late today. By the way, I had to wait until Sarah's car ran out of battery. Once I lost her, I could make it here on time, but I had to lose her first.
Hell yeah. Well, I think that's enough for now. I will talk to you later.
I think I hear Sarah now. I gotta go.
Ah.